You just as we are, in the name of Jesus Christ. We come this morning to you with our shortfalls, but we thank you for your love, your mercies towards each and every one of us here in this parliament. Father, this morning we pray you forgive us of all our unrighteousness, sinful thoughts, words, and actions and omissions to do what is right. We pray you forgive us, cleanse us, each and every one of us. Set us right with you. Father, we commit the rest of this meeting into your hands, that we shall continue to feel your presence with us and continue to express our grievances in the spirit of righteousness before you, Father, as we lead our people throughout this country. Father, this is our prayer. We ask it in no other name but the precious name of Jesus, your Son, who taught us to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive our trespasses against us. But deliver us from evil, and grant to us the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Any petitions? Notices? Honorable members, question time. The Honorable Governor for ECP.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Asking Blomi Nogat Tok Sabe and me by Golong Minister is I look at him hand paus blong country blow you me, Minister Blue Finance. Me asking this asking because inside lo tup lamun and budget lo country by minister I passing by no got more money go long institutions lo you aste minister mi sanap na mi talk out clear also all get 100% TFF go long school 100% testas go long school na 100% long health program long government ni go finish so let me know talk out long funding long on PHA, function grants long on provincial government, na all grants long on departments long, working work long on. Mr. Deputy Speaker, plenty time government is announcing budget inside long. Flow also I call him all big plan number money, lo name long on province, that's all. Plenty des la money em stop lo paper that's all. Case money mi blano saksi. For example, 2024 budget, ECP came supposed to receiving 57 million long function grant, na 10 million long infrastructure grant. Na long time long before long budget, me been asking this last him lo floor. Prime Minister me give him commitment long him also government by retiring more gada this outstanding because long 2024 ECP ki kisim tasol 23 million outlaw this la 57 million or 67 million total. Where he been stuck inside long budget. So outstanding long 2024 and 44 million mibla no bin kisim. Outlaw this plan. 67 million mibla supposed to kisim. Now Prime Minister making commitment, that's all. This la commitment, I think, pass long Department of Prime Minister, you know go come up long. Or line long Department of Finance. So mibla no kisim this plan. Now 2025 budget, time only working announcement. Na plenty all supporters for government, ni man na sing out na to governor lo isipig you pass him out na knock and talk. That's all inside lo this the time. Only promising people belong isipig 67 million long function grants, na 10 million long infrastructure grant. So total of 77 million long cash. As of today, na moon na October and by finish lo tete na tomorrow November ba start. Isipig provincial government is receiving 15 million long function grant, Na infrastructure grant mipla kisim 2 million. So outlaw total of 77 million mipla supposed lo kisim cash lo display year. ECB provincial government ni kisim 17 million taso. Na mi sabe olsem olnarbla province sit down olsem online lo yumi long madang tu ino kisim online lo simbu ino kisim. Na sabla narbla provincial government tu ino kisim. Now porat blomi olsem. Suppose me him last year na this year. Total of 104 million national government he put him no budget na ino give him ipla. Na mi like sabe olsem. Ask him blomi olsem. Government he got sampla thinking lo make him one kind olsem. You play work him 100% payment long. Alpim ol sumatin. Despla case lo mi pla sampla province where you play been put him no budget na you play no give him. Enough lo you play give him no next month. Suppose Minister of Finance hari Mr. Number 2 emolsem. Big pla heavy inside lo desla function grant. Mi pla sa kisim 3 million kina em lo pay him leave first lo teachers. Last year mi pla no kisim desla money. So mi pla no pay him leave first lo teachers. Na teachers lo ECB all been like strike. Na same time mi been put him lo Facebook all teacher lo marang tu all no kisim leave first lo. Now suppose you pla no give him this pla leave first lo this year which is another 3 million. All teachers lo ECB all by less lo work next year. So, me like asking you, Minister of Finance, suppose you in law, make him a personal business blow you play like Katibol get an arbla money. At least talk 7, I'm like and finding way to survive because lo case blow is big. Over lo 2 years, 104 million you play by cutting. 104 million. Me give you a number now. But suppose you play cutting can this lot. Me like is in full 5 million lo leave first blow teachers. 6 million. 3 million lo last year. 3 million lo this year, so that at least all teacher blow me. All again go lo any will leave blow lo next year or lo end of the year. Because if I don't get that money, all teacher blow is big. Me stop him all lo strike lo early this year. Next year, me no think by me enough lo stop him all because I'm 2 years in a row by no gat. So Minister of Finance, me ask him you lo desla lo luluk lo desla na 2 you me harem plenty all province all shut down because we no got marasin. Na suspicion blow me em all sem. You need to talk out to how much funding you go on PHA. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Firstly, me like to thank you, Regional Member, ECP, raising all this important question, leading up from yesterday's talk me make him side education sector. Me got some report from the department staff in terms of provincial grants. Lo side from the national government na underneath the Department of Finance. Me prioritizing. Me look priorities of government. Now me look cash flow, and based on this, me make him all transfers. All right. In this time we talk also, me acknowledging that provincial governments and local level governments play an important role in making sure all people blame me all blessed, all people blame me province and districts are well taken care of at the provincial and local level. Based on the report that me got the department in terms of remittance that me making the Department of Finance, this year you me got also. Me no got specific side of provincial governments, but I can be able to get some figures for ECP. But me acknowledging good blood talk member of ECP. Provincial grants recurrent, you may be allocating more than 700 million, 0.4, original appropriations for 2025 budget. Provincial grants development budget, you may be allocating 858 million. LGs, you may be allocating 144 million. Total blow 2025 provinces, send about 1.711.7 billion. Out of these ones, Treasury Department, warranty pennies, 1.2 billion, ikam lo mibla, lo Department of Finance. This amount, mibla provincial grants mibla so far, mibla remitim go all the provinces lo Papua New Guinea, mibla remitim also lo recurrent. Mibla remiti mosem 335 million kinapinis. Now, side blow development budget, you got all provinces, all the provinces, mipla remedy most 342 million finished. Total of 679.3 million has already been remitted to all the provinces. I can be able to give you the breakup. Suppose you can ask me, or I can be able to provide that in the next sitting. So total amount mipla paid so far, also me talk finish 679 million out of the 1.7. We acknowledge that we are quite behind, and we would like to use these remaining months of November and December to catch up. Some of us have 60, 75%. Lo retire more get this la outstanding the provincial government. I think this information we can give you, and we can give you assurance that this government will make sure that we will try our best. You mentioned him leave first. These are important. All teachers blame me right across the country. Only look forward to this entitlement. Only work hard. Only now all finishing all exam. Now all look lo finish me malolo matemol family blow. So me by work one time Department of Education, Department of Treasury, me by look lo this la one kind all allocations come. Lo this la me by try and make sure that me retire and this law leave first law teachers too. You may give me assurance that me by look lo this la. Lo PHA me got total appropriation. Good question you asking, so me must make sure that me give you this information. Lo PHS, me from the top of my head, me been allocating was a little bit over 517 million, and so far we have remedied a total of 300 plus million to the PHA. So we are tracking around 50 to 60%, and we understand that many of the hospitals are also requiring funds to complete the year, November and December. So 60%. So we are tracking at 60%. This week again, in terms of pro rata, based on the warrants that we have received from the Department of Treasury, we have warranted everything that is allocated to PHA. This shows our serious commitment that we prioritize PHAs. So whenever we get any warrants from the Department of Treasury, we make sure that all those warrants are paid out to all the PHAs. But we acknowledge that we are tracking behind. And this government will make sure that we fully retire. Like all other government priorities, we will make sure that we retire. All money is owing to all the PHAs in the country. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Miduramo.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you for giving me the floor. Before me asking Dr. Kinogat, Dr. Savegolong, Prime Minister, first me like Salim Dr. Sore Blomi Golong, all people belong Morobe, long Lusim Wanpla, Lida Blong, country, Natu Momaster. Me passing Dr. Sore Blomi Golong family, and all members, na people belong Morobe, in the country. Mr. Deputy Speaker, asking Blomi Nogatok Save Golo Prime Minister, Minister of Provincial and Local Level Government, suppose him stop, me can ask him long him. But I mean no stop, so me can ask him Prime Minister. Na Minister Blong, administration services, me can take more tool or display. You may look him lo country now, you got plenty of issue underneath long local level government election. Now plenty fight will come up. All people work good. Something will come up with similar country. Me look long. And then plenty common role update will come up with or complain on this bring him conflict name long or not too long census me long country and me also want me play killer. Prime Minister look me as a member of Miduramo, me play ask him Medang provincial and local level government law give me play what record book. One plow book whereby give him common role update na census where time me pla government is sit down long, look long. Census na common role update, Mr. Deputy Speaker. You may spend big money law, this law area. I will look me long. Here you can give him all what record book. You go along all LLC and along what council or what record I can keep him this plan update him. And by making him easy. So Mr. Deputy Speaker, ask him below me. Go along Prime Minister. Enough you me roll him out hot record book go along all provinces and along local level government. Or no God. Now two, and by making me see long all election blow me playing cello country. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'd like to thank you, Member Long, Middle Ramu, for asking this question. Yes, certainly there's a space for the use of ward recorders. For the first time now, this government is putting our councillors on payroll full-time now. Before, it was on an ad hoc arrangements. And so we would be asking the provincial and local level government to make the councillors, after this election, one of the key work, everyday work of our ward councillors is to hold records of the people in migration, out migration, births and deaths, and records of our population. Last night, I had the privilege of announcing officially to our country our population enumeration and numbers page against our count night at 16th of June last year. It is established that we now 10,100,000 and Minister Masara, you can help me this one. Sorry? 10,185,363. 10,185,363. That statistics was released yesterday. The Minister for our National Census will distribute the census result to all of you.
Prime Minister, we have a point of order.
Thank you.
Member for about what's your point of order?
Deputy Speaker, you know the Prime Minister, I think this is the third time he has announced the population of the country. But the country has not received a formal official report yet. So which one are we going to believe? Thank you.
Honorable Member, I think I heard from the Prime Minister that he just mentioned that the announcement will be made shortly. It was made last night and it will be delivered to everyone. Prime Minister, I'll ask you to continue on your reply.
Very good. Always happy when the member for Abao is interjecting. To be honest, he's one of the few members I always like listening to. He's got a wealth of experience.
We all like listening.
So good or bad, when he does make a point of interjection, whether from the opposite or not, every one of us have some contributions to make to the public discourse. So, I did make one or two instances earlier, but last night, for the first time, we unveiled to our country our population as at 16th June 2024. And so I'm just looking at my phone to get off the correct number. And as of last night's unveiling, our population stands at 10,185,363 as of 16th June 2024, the night in which we were counting. And so that's a reference point night. Population doesn't stop. Every night you are making babies, so the number keeps on telling on. For those who care to ask, we're going backward. So the population is, and last night I made a point when we announced the population to the country, that counting of population must be an everyday task.
supervised by the provincial administration, it must be an everyday count. There must be a section in a provincial government administration structure in the provinces, linking to the districts, and also linking to our health centers, that we must be counting all the time. So to keep the long story short, coming back to your question, instead of consuming the space, member for Middle Ramu, your question is in order. We will make it a councillor's core business now that they are paid full-time. It will be whether it's on an electronic update dashboard or a manual word recording. We could interface both, and we keep tap on all our population. With population headcount now established, I commend Minister Masare, quickest time delivered for our census on record. The last 5 census we've had has taken more than like the last one, 2011. Census was staged in 2011, but full number came out in 2015. This one, within a year, we have a number, and so I want to commend his team for working on this one. It now gives us, all governors will be handed out the census result. You know exactly what's the population of your province, and together with provincial government, national government, districts, we can work to plan our country's development agenda going forward. But certainly there's a space for our councillors. As they come in, the first job is to maintain raw data in the respective wards to our country. Thank you, Thomas.
We have a supplementary. Member for Mosby Noticed. What's your supplementary?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. It might be supplementary because I got a question in relation to the same thing. That is census, common roll update, NID, and biometric. So since the Prime Minister is answering 1/3 of it, I think I can also put my supplementary to him so that he can also answer.
Then you want to ask, so anyway, I already given you the floor. Please continue on your question.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I also want to commend the Minister for Administrative Services on the census. And now we know that the population of this country is 10 million plus. Okay, this is for the budgetary purpose of this country. Since we have got 14 months away from the national election to exercise our democracy of voting in 2027. Out of the total population, 18 years and above will be recorded as eligible voters. And then we have got NID coming. And NID looks like the bank and other institutions consider NID as one of the reference of ID card. Even as a member, I went to bank and said, you got an NID. So it is also important. And then we want to come to a biometric voting system. The question here, I want to ask the Minister or Prime Minister, is that do we have enough time if we don't consider common roll update at this time? We know the total population already, but how are we going to separate 18 years and above so that we are going to election within the 14 months? So my question is to Prime Minister is that if biometric is used in other parts of the province, like NCDC might be easy, or other provinces, but we are one country, we want uniformity kind of election process. So any budget that might be allocated for biometric, because I personally think that biometric will won't work because we got 14 months. And NID, they said, come next week.
Honourable Member, we have a point of order from the Minister. Minister, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I think the question should be directed to me to give some justice to the response. So I'm just asking.
Honourable Minister, it's at the prerogative of the member who is asking the question. He directed the question to the Prime Minister, so I'll allow him ask the question, and he asked that you, Minister, responsible to take note, so you can take note of what he asked. So, Honourable Member, you continue on your question.
Thank you, my brother Minister. Take note of that because Prime Minister already answered 1/3 of it. So I better continue. Okay, we got NID. Every morning you go to this PDC or this telecom place, you see everybody lining up. And they lining up almost 8 months, 9 months without getting the NID. What's the kind of process we are using? If NID is not completed and you're talking about biometric, how is it going to work? And then the common law. Prime Minister, for the sake of this country, for the sake of common rule update before the election 2027, any budget for this biometric should consider for 2026 common rule update so that we can be prepared for 2027. My question is 2027 is almost 14 months. So I'm glad to ask the Minister, take note, the Prime Minister, to any budget allocated for biometric should be used for 2026 common role update so that we can be prepared for 2027 election. That's number one. Number two, the NID, if it's not completed, what's the term of reference or ID card that will be used for all our voters in 2027? Some of them will come. Number three, you may all get a by go vote common role supplementary because Samla by die, Samla by head on. 18 months we can use a supplementary list that will be guided by the DDA or the council, vote council, as we spoke about. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I want to say thank you to the member for what must be noticed for asking a series of questions that relates also to the first question being asked. But I want to firstly from the outset give full assurance that we will work our best to make sure 2026 is used as a year to prepare for a better voting platform in 2027. Promise to our nation after 2022 election still stands that in 2027 we want a better voting platform. I think it was yesterday when I responded to a similar question asked that we intend to make sure that common role, in the midst of what we do, common role is tidy. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to indicate to this Parliament and to the country that see our investment in an updated census that we started last year as part of the work in giving a platform that is more reliable for our 2027 elections. At a trusted data established at a census, it now establishes, and the census also tells us the age of our people. The reference point was 16 June 2024. So if someone was 17 at 16 June 2024, then at 16 June 2025, that same person is now 18. So the population database through the census gives us a basis in which we establish the reference point of any other population-related activities going forward. And as part of our overall act of cleaning up a weakness that we've carried in our system. Studies and the Commonwealth Observation Report from a couple of elections they've run, as well as our own Parliament bipartisan committee on, a special parliamentary committee on the review of 2022 national general elections headed by Governor Baird. All these have affirmed and looked at the deficiency we've carried. key amongst those deficiencies is the integrity of the common role, and then the process that is geared towards. So I do acknowledge common role is an issue. I appreciate the ask by the member. Do you have time to deliver biometrics? Do you have time to deliver NID? To complement an update of the common role, so that as we arrive in 2027, something that I want us as a group of leaders to establish for our country, at the earliest is one person, one vote. So the sanctity of his Section 50 right is really is able to be he or she has at the polling booth. We have a system because it's a manual, and time in the Highlands, for instance, one-day polling is practically unfeasible. One-day polling is practically unfeasible, so in a mad rush to get everyone to vote, the Highlands voters have now designed a system where they sort of agree on who they vote. I give you one example to myself, my own village, or Paipeli, in Hela province. If you go through all the results since 2002, I contested. I don't collect 100% vote from that village, although it's my village of traditional village of population registry, where my house is, where my family live. There are always a certain percentage who don't vote for me. But because it's a short time voting, the tribes in the Highlands have galvanized a voting process where they decide on who they want to vote a day or two earlier. And then when the paper arrives, then they said, those who want to vote someone else, you vote. Those who want to vote the major candidate from the village will vote. So I think we need to move past this one. Technology can assist, ID can assist. Because we security conscious and time bound, they do it in one day. We want to arrive where it's not rushed. They're able to, because it's ID based, they could sit down, take a day or two or three. Like we do it in the coastal provinces, you can vote for up to a week. So long as that one person knows when his or her moment to vote arrives, no one can tamper with the process. He or she goes to the voting polling booth, picks up his or her paper, he's identified or her identified, and cast the vote of their choice. I can tell you, if we go through this process, two members in this House from the Highlands, or from the Southern Highlands rather, and Hela, the Honourable Member for Yalupangi and the Honourable Member for Taripori will come back easily, quickly, first past the word, as we've done many times. We are both favourites in our respective electorates. But we've always been tainted, and I have my personal interest. My leadership has always been tainted with the view that voting was done improper. And for all of us, so we want to do it properly, and sort of voting in 2027. If some of us decide to run, then voting in 2027 could be a better place than the past election we held. So I want to appeal to all of us. We're looking in our team, and Governor's Bed Committee will be very much part of this process, so it is a bipartisan approach. Governor Bed and his team have the report. They've indicated to us, what are you doing with the report? That's a correct line of reference for government to be in haste and responsive. Governor Bed's committee will be part of the process right through. So we check, make sure that the work we want to do is delivered, and it becomes a bipartisan approach leading to 2027. NID, biometric, common role update will be very much part of the discussion. I ask all of us in the 2026 budget that comes up, let's allocate quite a good resource for that place to be resourced to enter those activities next year. And some changes are happening. All of us will take note of some change. The electoral commission appointment committee sat down and met. The incumbent has reached his retirement age, and so we're getting into the process of filling in new leadership in the place. And when it is filled, we hope next year a heap of activity happens. There's a minister designated to be supervising these activities on a day-to-day basis to make sure the intention of this parliament gets to be progressed and we arrive in a better voting environment and platform in 2027. Good question, Member for Mosby Notice. I give you my assurance. We will do our absolute best to make sure 2027 election is far, far better in terms of preparation than the last election or the years before. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Goroka.
Mr. Deputy Speaker. Firstly, before me asking question to me, you know what, looks away me like, on behalf of people of Goroka, me like passing big blood, talk sorry, blum block along. Online antalo wap na manda. Big blood landslide, kisim on, or planted blood, been losing life. Big blood sorry, leaders from Enga province. Governor and member of wap na manda. Notice, question to me, look sawe, me like ask him going hardworking minister of coffee. Me also at the same time me talk big congratulations golong this la nupla bill you pass him. Coffee industry inside long islands especially long islands come down and one big commodity where all plant all farmers me bless depend on them. The total global market from coffee and 200 billion. And within global market for LNG too. Middle farmers in Salogoroka, especially concerned with all like ratio 1 or 2 platasol, concerning this Lanupla bill, a master you may pass him. Firstly, number one question from me, consultation. This Lanupla bill and you may pass him, and by affecting close to 500,000 to 600,000 farmers below you in Salong country. Now, people are concerned and people are like, how was this bill passed? Was there enough consultation among all rural farmers below you? Mr. Na triple time, finish 4 time now. Me no looks away, so me raise him issue now. Secondly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, issue belong coffee exporters license. Me how much to look in the bill and you just put in section 44 but this bill and process. Now our licenses were issued. Question below me inside the country we have 28 exporter license export companies. From the 28 exporting companies, 80% of the company nationally owned. Now 20% of the company is owned by foreigners. However, the 20% of that company dictates the market and monopolizes the market from coffee inside the country. Now 80% belong to national farmers, national exporters, sadly to say, are marginalized. Pricing, also the foreign export receipts that come back inside the country does not really show the export volume of coffee. For example, suppose one foreign company exporting 1 billion bags go, the full amount of this receipt doesn't come back in the country. Question for me, this Lanupla bill. Second question is, how do you address that issue? Issue license go along foreigners and national companies. Thirdly, question for me, Lanupla bill, did you include agro-tourism? Agro-tourism or coffee tourism, and one Lanupla industry where time of tourism come in Salogoroka district, they want to see how coffee is picked, how coffee is processed, and how coffee go cup. Have we include that in the new bill? One time clear, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and triple question implement.
Honourable Minister for Coffee.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Firstly, I want to thank the members of this House for passing the National Coffee Authority Bill yesterday. This is something that we needed to do, and it's done. This bill has come about since the 1991 coffee industry bill. That's over 30 years ago. And this bill is a reset. Is the reset agenda for agriculture especially and coffee in particular. This is the reset that we needed for this sector. And as you have heard, as you have read, as you have seen, our production and the volume of coffee being produced by our farmers, especially the farmers in Eastern Highlands. That's about 80% of our coffee come from Western Highlands, Juaka, Jimbo, and then into the Robusta producing provinces of Isipik, Oro, and parts of Morobe. The production have always been on the decline. So as a responsible government, what do? Do we sit down and watch and allow this industry that once carried this country? Do we just allow and wait and sit and watch, or do we need to stand up and do something? And that is what my ministry has done. So I want to thank all the people that have been involved, including the state salt team, that have been so instrumental into day and night to ensure that this bill came through and through to the floor, and that's what we got voted for and is enacted as of yesterday. Now back to the question by former Minister for Agriculture, who is fully aware of what this bill is all about, and his district and province produces 80% of our coffee. This bill is a gain for our farmers. It's not a big gain for the 20% of our exporters who control 80% of the export volume. Eventually, they will be the end recipient and beneficiaries. But if we don't look after the farmers, the people that get their hands dirty, our small people in the villages, the small people that are with water bottles and buy and smoke on our roads, traffic lights, it's an eyesore. And it is my hope that one day all these people will go back to the villages and toil their land where they should rightfully be, planting coffee, planting cocoa, planting copra. So that is really the intent of this bill, my brother, and good member for Goroka. It is not encrypted on rock like the Ten Commandments, fellow members of Parliament. It is something that is subject for review, amendment. But at least we got something for a start. If you look at the CIC all these years, there's so much politics in it. There's a board versus board, management versus management. I've seen, I've observed, and I'm old enough to know what the issues are. It's been going on. In Goroka, it doesn't happen in most places. Some of you don't feel it. So that is why we got this bill through. I want to thank the wisdom of the Prime Minister. To be honest with you, I never liked this ministry, but for now, I'm consumed in it. I'm in it. And I need your support. Now, you may ask him, can't get question about Maski. If you care about your people, the small people in the villages, this is the way to go. So I want to appeal to the coffee farmers out there. This bill is for you. There's a price support for you. There's a freight support for you. And there's what we call the green gold card I asked earlier. I answered earlier from the question by the good member again. And this is how we're going to carry our people with us. So the export licensing part of it is another gray area that we've corrected. In the absence of a board, the CIC has never been without a board for almost the last 15 months. How do you operate a company with no board? How do you operate a company that is partly or allegedly to be owned by the state? That is a private sector company. How do you operate? And so, I know It's been difficult for me, but I want to thank all of you for passing this bill. I am in control now. Yeah, in terms of licensing, the licensing aspect through that board that we will appoint will come through me, like what we do in the petroleum sector, like we do in the mining sector. Only the minister approves the export license. For the time being, it's yours truly. I'm standing here. I will approve that. For the time being. For as long as the Prime Minister wants me on this job, all those applications will need to come to me.
Honorable Minister, we have a point of order. Member for Madam.
Yesterday he presented his bill and the full opportunity to debate, but we're down to 1 minute, so if we can ask for an extension time because of the long answers being provided to the question. So question be put that question time be extended.
Honorable Member for Madang, I will not entertain your point of order until the Minister. Minister, I think our time is also running up, so can you wrap up your short reply to the member for
Deputy Speaker,
Goroka?
Because all of us, money stop blow place, people stop blow place, this la bill and blow people blow place. You may be clear, but I want to thank my brother and the member for Goroka for always asking me really nice questions so that I can explain the story of coffee. And once again, thank you, Prime Minister, for your wisdom to ensure that coffee had its own head. And medicine, now we've got an authority, and coffee is under control. Our people out there in Chimbu, Goroka, Eastern Highlands, Western Highlands, this one is for you. You no one thing or one plus something like you plus. One plus by antapim, plenty your benefit through Lord Isla Coffee. Once again, to the staff of the Coffee Industry Corporation, I want to appeal to you that none of you will lose your job. We will migrate from what is now CIC to National Coffee Authority. This is what will happen. We will not remove them. These are our people. But what will happen is you will be under my spotlight, under my watch. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable members, our question time is lapsed. Honorable member for Madang, before we continue our grievance debate, I have to make a statement here. Honorable members, yesterday, the Honorable Governor for Chimbu raised a concern on his self-explanation yesterday and asked for the member for Tambul Nabilia, Minister for Commerce, to make an apology to him. His plea for the minister to make an apology was interrupted by noises within the house, and we have not, the chair hasn't allowed the minister to respond and say apology. Therefore, I will ask the member for Tambul Nabilia and Minister for Commerce to make a statement in apology to the matter raised by the Governor for Chimbu yesterday. Honorable Member for Tambul Nabilia and Minister for Commerce.
Deputy Speaker, thank you, Lord. Point of order.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I don't think Governor of Chimbu is in the chamber, so it is proper for him to be in chamber, for the minister to...
Honorable Minister for Agriculture, whether the member is in the House, the statement has been made in this House. Therefore, I will allow for him to make a response. So, Minister, Member Tambul Nabilia, I give you the opportunity to respond and say your apology to the Governor.
Deputy Speaker, thank you, Lord. You give me time, Lord. Talk today. Before me talk, me make a mouse floor. People blow me law. Tambul Nabilia district, my people. Me make a mouse floor. Me like talk sorry. Lord Governor Blom, Borode.
Governor Blom Morobe led Lutawenge Midai since Midai Mina Sanap Mila Toksore. La people Blom Morobe. Me too, Mr. Siliblap, me stop. I'm Governor Blom, me too. Me want the governor and all members from Western Islands. The Blacari Peak Money Golo, Auscry. That's all. Now, in terms of this honorable house, me acknowledge him, leadership led. Now, me talk sorry, now people blow more of it. One thing, this law, I just want to say my apology. So, Deputy Speaker, in related to allegations made by Honorable Governor Kul, I state here that what was claimed to have said by me was outside of chamber in the private environment and not within the chamber. And I was surprised yesterday, Deputy Speaker, when Governor Kul raised the issue on the floor, the Speaker, even if I did say such comments as claimed by Governor Kul, which I denied. It is wrong for Governor Kul to bring it into the chamber yesterday and complain during question time or debate time and demanding the apology. Number 3, if Honorable Governor Kul felt my comments as claimed were improper, there are legal events open to him under the standing orders, such as formally writing to the Parliamentary Privilege Committee to look at it and make a decision to me whether to warn me or not. Mr. Deputy Speaker, but in spite all of this process to follow as a patient and a member of Tambul Nebula and Minister for State, I have a lot of friends and very good close friends and families from Cebu, and I apologize to the people of Cebu in my allegations, comments, disappointment to them. I am so sorry. And also the people of Sawi, and I am so sorry if I offended you all in any way. Last one, and very important. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in future, the Honorable House, through you, should stop members from bringing in private conversations onto the Parliament to debate and demand answers and apologies from the fellow members. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Grievance debate, member for Madang.
The Speaker, for recognizing me on opportunity for grievance debate. Unfortunately, time ran out, and I even have time to ask you a question. So I'll try and craft my question that was to the Minister for Administrative Services as part of my grievance debate. So there are 3 issues on grievance debate. One is the funding of the LLG election, where we had so many commitments in this Parliament that they would be funded. As of this morning, I received a text message or conversation from the electoral officers asking for lunch money to pay counting officials, 20 kina. They confirmed that when the writs were issued, the electoral commissioner gave them 10,000 kina to conduct their training and recruit their counting and polling officials. And that 10,000 kina,
Honorable Minister, what's your point of order?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, whilst I appreciate that this is grievance debate, a member should know that if he wants to get factual information, he should speak to the Electoral Commissioner. Don't go down to get text messages and expect that those text messages are genuine and they are correct. You can't come into the house and just make a mockery of a system by just listening to people's text messages, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Minister and honorable members, the grievance debate allows for a member to sow in grievance of what he feels he can bring to this House. Therefore, I will not use any, entertain any matter to stop a member for, unless you speak a word that is not parliamentary, that I will ask you to withdraw. Honorable member.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and your sound ruling. So, back to the issue of LLG elections. Yes, we get information from our electorate because that's who we represent. We come here to be their voice. We are not in government and we can go to the Electoral Commissioner where he is vacant. So, according in a meeting that I had with them, they raised concern they only received 10,000 kina. Ogata ARO. Ogata LLG. Then the provincial government gave them just last week, Thursday, 19,000. So they had 29,000 kina to run the entire LLG election for their LLG. 29,000 kina. 10,000 in Pinis, 18,000 now. They're looking for hire vehicle and everything to run. I said, but there's no money. The Electoral Commission, the money that was budgeted is given in Pinis. So you guys are recruiting electoral officials. Who's going to pay them? Then we went through the budget for these accounting officials, electoral officials. They get paid 70 PO, presiding officer gets 74 kina. Then Nadla gets 72 kina. Then O'Clock Simo said 50 kina. Then Doki Ibrahim 42 kina a day. Then they add a 300 kina risk allowance. Risk allowance. This is LLG election. So why are we paying national rates, election rates, where you got high risk for LLG election? And then they want advance payment, advance for deduction, advance to even deploy. So last time when the government cancelled the election or deferred it, some of them already see 1,000 or go finish and then they'll turn in, they'll come back in. And we know there's no money. I calculated that if we counted that 300 kina per official, it comes to over close to 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. Right now they just got 29,000 for 3 LLGs. The good minister mentioned to me in his conference or workshop that all the money has been paid. We put a hold on the account, but because once the elections polling starts, we release it. That was a complete misinformation by the minister to me. Complete lie. Okay. So, right now we got LLG election. Now, time will find out some no money. They're going to say, hey, we're not going to count and declare until money comes. So who's going to, now we are going to fund the LLG national function or not?
Honorable member, we have a point of order. Minister of Coffee.
I don't mean to interject, but there is what we call the shared responsibility. We, in my electorate, we are spending money, not just to run these elections, but we've also assisted with the common role. Yes, I'm also talking about my elections so that you can see what we are doing in my electorate. We don't allow the Electoral Commission to run these elections, do the common role update unto themselves. We also assist as well, so I'm just putting a point. Please.
Honorable member, continue on your debate.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. So these are issues that concern my electorate. I understand that things might be different in yours. Time law grievance debate, please, by all means, you get up now. You talk law electorate law. Me talk electorate law me. So that is the current status I understand in my electorate. I can't say what happens in other electorate because me no stop law na asking all ARO. This is my electorate. So the government, provincial government put in 19,000. They are also struggling with revenue. So obviously for the district now, we have to step in. But the question is, are we going to get our money back if the government then releases funding to Electoral Commission or not? And then I got hospital coming to me and asking for fuel drum. And I said, my district is not a function to start functioning national government agencies. Health, Works, CIS.
Honorable Minister, what's your point of order?
This la tok lo yumi online lo district na provinces tok lo all work lo PHA and blow na national government must stop him. It is a shared responsibility. There is a service level agreement that is now signed by all DDAs to support PHAs where the need is. Thank you. Let me speak.
Honorable members, I think I have made a ruling that this is a grievance debate. Allow the members to pour out their grievances. If you have any ministers that you are sitting, please take note of what the members are sharing on the grievance, and we can address to it. And we can allow the authorities out there also to listen to the members and address the issue the country is facing. Honorable member, continue on your debate.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. On the issue of security, I approached the Medang Police to confirm, are they deploying? They said, we have no instructions from the Electoral Commissioner. We have received no briefing. Last week, Thursday, they just released, Thursday evening, the Electoral Commission released the polling schedule. Thursday evening, and they're going to poll on Monday. Nobody even knew what day they're polling. Policing said we were waiting on the Electoral Commission to brief us. We don't even know our operation. We've already told, but we have no briefing. And we don't know if we're going to get paid allowances or not. That is the state of affairs, I can say, in my electorate. I cannot speak to other electorates. On the second point, was concerning my grievance debate in a Minister for Administrative Affairs, an advisor, one kind super advisor, Mr. Vikas Singh, who I understand has been traveling around with the Minister for Administrative Services and giving advice overseas to New Zealand and India and other places, and he's being paid and funded by the Electoral Commissioner. So I looked up his background.
Yeah. Let me interrupt you. Honorable member, I understand you have made a good grievance debate in regard to what happened in there. I will ask you to refrain from mentioning a person's name whom they are not here in the house. So I will ask you to refrain and withdraw from mentioning a person's name.
Okay. Point noted, Deputy Speaker, and I will come withdraw the name, but I will not mention the name. So because it's on record. So the super advisor, according to his LinkedIn, is a TV technician. He connects TV brackets. He has a Magic TV. He has a Domino franchise. The super advisor is now leading in discussions on our electoral reform with the good minister. So I'm not sure how in his CV he talks about his dealing with government affairs. I don't know how you connect the TV and then you end up in government affairs in PNG and then you're traveling around the country and doing electoral reform. These issues are, unfortunately, because question time finished, I couldn't have the opportunity to ask the minister, so I'm grievance debate for me. So it's just something that this government must explain. How does the man come up, super advisor? One qualification, because I don't see any qualifications in his LinkedIn to say he's even qualified for this work. On the other issue, well, he's also a restaurant advisor. So I understand also he's advising Treasury. I don't, again, I understand how these people are recruited.
We have a point of order.
The gentleman that he's referring to has not been paid by the state. He provides advice based on whatever information we require. But the government or the state does not pay him. He's not a consultant, or we just seek his advice because he comes from a professional background. So it's really sad that the member for Medan could drag people like this just for grandstanding in the parliament.
Order.
Anyway, that's opportunity now. I guess the minister, unless other parliament sitting, he can provide a response. or I'm happy to provide details and he can respond. On the last, because you guys keep cutting my grievance debate time, Smartmatics. This is a company that the good minister invited to PNG, a US-based company that provides electronic polling and voting. And they were one of the main presenters at the workshop or electoral commissioner program organized by the good minister. So I did research on this company, and their co-founder and a few executives have been indicted for bribery. It's a, you look find him CNN. It's on CNN news page. They were indicted for bribery allegations in the Philippines, where they used 1 million funds sitting in a California trust fund, and they have been accused of bribing officials in the Philippines, electoral officials, mind you, on allegations of inflating the price of their machines. So during this entire program that the minister put on, I attended the conferences, I sat out. Unfortunately, I didn't get the time to question him on this issue. But no one mentioned that they have been indicted. Now, they could be innocent, but isn't this something that's important that the good minister should have made known, especially to this government, so we avoid embarrassment? Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but we can look silly if we're not informed and they're not provided an opportunity to respond. So we're now talking about going into electronic biometric. The good Prime Minister has issued a statement. But then again, if this company gets the contract, then we're going to look rather silly that a company that we're going to award or consider to award a contract to, we invited all the way here, is facing indictment. And if they're convicted, then what does that say? Do we adopt their system of electronic system when they've been accused of bribing electoral officials? So there, my grievance debate.
Honorable Member for Madang, sorry for interrupting you, but I am informing you that your 10 minutes has lapsed.
Last one to interrupt my time. So with that, 33 seconds, that is my grievance debate. I look forward for these issues I am raising grievance to be responded by relevant government ministers. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Bulolo.
Deputy Speaker, before me starting, Tok Lomi Milak, Tokum you also, you Papa Lucia. So time you talk osem, man no can book in point of order, okay, you must be him sa tukok. You no can entertain him. You Papa Laos Mipla ba submit lo, you know, you ba submit lo Mipla. So you sanab lo talk lo. Go back lo, grievance debate lo me. Mr. Acting Deputy Speaker, laws must be enforced for security of land tenure and attracting domestic and foreign investment. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I wish to commend the Minister for Lands and Physical Planning for taking on the challenge to work with the Minister for Housing and Urbanization and other provincial government and DDA. This will ensure the development of proper planned residential areas in Papua New Guinea to cater for accommodation needs for our people. Also, there must be visible and easy to do steps, encourage domestic and foreign investment in the country. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we have a big challenge, and that is for proper planned developments rather than moving one group of people from a planned or squatter area settlement to a new location without any amenities and public facilities. I was referring to the people moved from Paga Hill and other locations in NCD to Dogura and back of Gerehu Stage 6 or to Laloki, and the same in other towns and stations. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I have great challenge in Bololo where I need to properly settle more than 2,000 people. These are descendants of people brought from around Papua New Guinea, in the 1920s to 1940s to work on the gold fields and forestry plantation as laborers. These are people. They are people of Bololo and Papua New Guinea. I'm all citizen, Bamibla. In 2009, there was ethnic conflict between our local Morobe people and those brought in. They had their homes and properties totally destroyed, Mr. Acting Speaker, Deputy Speaker. The late MP Sam Basil organized their repatriation to the ancestral provinces. They returned back as it was difficult to connect to places they had only also arim kasol but almost a staff land. Mr. Deputy Speaker, land was bought at Arab Lolei, and they were settled. Unfortunately, they left and returned back to Bololo again. They are living in makeshift structures. And one can do longer a place, Mr. Deputy Speaker. You lose in place, you come start up after generation, you come a vast place. On man place no savali. My DDA has approached the Ministry and Department of Provincial Affairs for assistance and technical advice. We have already communicated our DDA resolution to the Ministry and Department of Lands and Minister for Housing to undertake proper physical planning and urban development for Bololo. The Prime Minister and Governor of Morobet, late Luta Wange, with former Governor Gilson Saunu, now Naraplakam Backside Lem, has made a commitment to people affected to be relocated. But to where? Where? Because experience shows that we need to resettle them properly, considering long-term education and employment and income capacity within a properly planned area. We need to connect water, sewage, sanitation, electricity, telephones, and roads. They need to build homes and also engage in income-earning activities or direct employment. The National Housing Corporation will need to develop it under one of its schemes, such as self-help or buyout scheme. So houses are built or given blocks to build own houses. We don't want to see another settlement popping up everywhere. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the government has established a loan scheme with commercial banks with housing loans going at 400,000 kina. How do we assist our people who cannot afford even a 10,000 kina at present? The issue raised is whether the Department of Lands is making land available so that the cost of land comes down so that people can afford, even without the government loan scheme. Our public servants cannot afford, and it is difficult. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we have the Okuk Highway, Leh Najab upgrade, and the people are just rebuilding or moving back. Further, we will still have unplanned housing from 1 to 5 miles in Leh. The same is happening in NCD. So my call is for proper plan and service and titled allotments. If the department is working on that, we would want to know where and how many title allotments are already put on tender. I am also critical of our own Wau and Bololo towns. That is a nightmare. It is the oldest towns, and most departments and agencies all abandoning sila town na place na only go finish. We need the Department of Lands and NHC, or National Housing Corporation, to identify all state land that is available for leasing and start putting public tenders. Any illegal occupants must be asked to vacate so that we can have planned and orderly development. Mr. Acting Speaker, we will need a DDA and LLG and state utilities providers, such as Department of Works, PNG Power, Water PNG, and Telecom to connect roads, power, water, and sewage lines. We need to remove our focus from Port Moresby and Leh and move to other urban areas or centers. Many middle and low-income earners throughout Papua New Guinea want to see houses built for sale or leased to them by National Housing Corporation. We need National Housing Corporation to build houses throughout the 22 provinces, including towns like Wikila, Kainantu, Minsk, Bans, Wau, Lahame, Como, Okapa, Finchafen, so that we retain public servants and private sector to expand their services to these locations. We must talk with customary landowners to utilize land for housing purposes, without them losing the land. They must collect rent whilst the state protects the land. This must be done right across the country, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We also need the people to be accommodated, and business can thrive and public servants deliver services to the people. While we need to free up state land and customary land, there is lack of law enforcement and proportion of state land by the Department of Lands. We are having so many complaints on abuse of process, land given to cronies and families. There is even outright fraud going on in our public service. Mr. Acting Deputy Speaker, I want the Minister for Police and Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Lands to take note of my concerns on abuse of land and land fraud. There are many small Papua New Guineans that are falling victims to corruption and fraud involving public servants. Let me be clear that we have the majority of dedicated public servants, but a few or minority that are trying to cripple this country. Our lack of attention and action is a major issue that is promoting this bad behavior, Mr. Acting Speaker, Deputy Speaker. The Public Accounts Committee, during Sir John Hickey days, branded that the corrupt departments was the Department of Lands and the National Housing Corporation. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I am concerned that many questions and issues related to corruption and fraud and official corruption and conspiracy that has happened, and it seems to be still in place. Many actions have been taken to protect legitimate leaseholders, and no actions are taken to date. I have issues that relates to public facilities and land that were illegally transferred or stolen from the public. For example, in Morobe, we have the Amelia Earhart Park near Old Airport that was taken away. In Medang, a public bus stop was given to private individuals. We also hear complaints of Kone Tigers Club, clubland in NCD, given away to private individuals. We also hear of land and asset of the Highlands Farmers and Settlers Association in Bans, Goroka, and Dumpu that Department of Lands is involved in irregularities. We hear that many letters and follow-up has been made to the ministers and secretaries back in the day for Lands and Police Commissioners since 2015 to 2025. I'm not at action, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We hear the Farmers Association file a complaint with the Police and Ombudsman Commission on the 25th July 2015 against the Registrar of Titles, Minister and Secretary for Lands and Physical Planning in relation to land called Vans Club and Goroka Showground.
Honorable Member Pabulolo, we have a point of order. Deputy Opposition Leader, what's your point of order?
I want to inform that his grievance debate time is late.
Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader, the Speaker is looking at the time, and it will be the Speaker who stops. So, Honorable Member, your time has lapsed. I would not allow. If you have a written statement, you can send it for the handset. Honorable Prime Minister.
Speaker, me like to thank you, Lomaki. I'll be very quick. Usually I don't stand on my feet in the grievance debates, but I think there's something that I need to point out. Firstly, I want to stand behind the Minister for Commerce, Melko Tambol, and offer my apologies to the people of Chimbu if they have been grieved in any way, shape, and form. Every part of our country are important. We all contribute to the country. Chimbu is one of the leading provinces in terms of contribution to human capital in our country. And so if every Chimbu citizens have been offended by this, I do stand behind the Minister and affirm the apologies. Minister spoke in private. I think he did told me, as I asked him yesterday, he was misheard. Sometimes your mind says one thing, but your lips say something else. And so to the Chimbu people, in no way, shape, and form, it is intent to offend you. We do apologize. You are a great contributor to human resources. You're a contributor in coffee, cacao. Your Mount William is an important tourist, iconic tourism, inland fisheries. The Highlands Highway runs through you. We also now trying our very best the last 4 or 5 years, spreading money to different sectors for the Karami Road. It is intended from Karami to Gambok and Bundi out to Usino. Remains a strategic intent of government as far as Connect PNG is concerned. We've invested a little bit in Suabe, Rimbari, Nambifa section of the road. And so it just shows how strategic Chimbu plays right in the heart of our country. My own government passed on 5 million kina for the settlement of the water supply. Those Kamaniku tribesmen up there in the mountains, the water issue was a stumbling block before 2019. We passed 5 million around 2019, 2020. The water is now being supplied to Kundiao town as we speak. And Kundiao Hospital has remained a very central hospital in the heart of our country, serving right across. So we just want to say, Chimbu, you are an important part of us. Myself and the member for Suabe does have some exchange, but that's just part of the game. He sits in the opposite, we sit on this side. We make sure to take these sort of exchanges. I want to offer counsel to all members of Parliament. Let's not personalize exchange on the floor of Parliament. Let's rise up and accept debates that wages on in our Parliament, because that's what this Parliament is all about. On another matter, I just want to offer us counsel to members of Parliament. Standing order must be read. And I'm sure, example, I just, nothing against the member for Medang. I have heaps of respect for him. This morning, whether by design or slip of tongue, but he's amongst the most educated in our Parliament in terms of law. He knows law better than most. He knows very well that standing order prohibits calling someone who's not on the floor of Parliament by name. But he let it slip out of his mouth. And I just want to ask members of Parliament, maintain decorum at all times. Our children are watching. Our people are watching. Parliament is a house of people that must carry their heads on a mature shoulder. And so let's prescribe to the standing orders of a Parliament. If someone's aggrieved, court is the place to go. I also want to ask Mr. Speaker, yourself, let's combine and agree that the Privileges Committee of the Parliament must function, and members of Parliament who abuses the conduct on the floor of Parliament, including abuse to the office of Speaker, the Privileges Committee must be utilized to make referral, and so appropriate warning, appropriate nurturing. And if a serial offender is found in the house, then appropriate penalty can be dispensed in the context. I also want to encourage the country. There are certain places where unaccountability in public verbiage continues to flow, speaking with no sense of accountability. You look at the U.S., there are more murder happening in New York City at night than the entire country of PNG in a year. 4 murders on average at New York City at night. That the number 1 business capital of the world, New York City, 4 murders on average at night. But the U.S. media don't go around every now and then promoting the city as a city that murder is happening. Of course, they run the story in terms of free media, but they run it at back page, second page, mid page. And so I just want the country at our 50th to take responsibility of our country. If there is an offense being created by someone in our country, you stand up on the floor of Parliament, you speak on it, but don't just let it waste on the floor of Parliament. Be man enough, submit the report to police, to Ombudsman Commission, to ICAC, and to relevant authorities. In the instance of corruption right now, and I want to commend Police Commissioner, under Police Minister, without tampering on the process of appointment, but because of familiar complaints, we decided that overseas person must head the fraud squad. And so today, right now, the anti-fraud squad in police is headed by someone recruited from Australia, if I'm not wrong. And so an international guy, overseas guy, works at the national fraud squad. Corruption must be reported. Don't just come to the floor, or don't participate in Facebook for those who use Facebook or WhatsApp. with no follow-through. Be man enough. If you launch, we see corruption, write your name behind the complaint, not just reporting on Facebook. Write your name behind the complaint, not just advocating here in Parliament because there's a TV watching you. Write your name behind that complaint. Take it to police. If the police has not responded in a week, follow up again next week. Follow up again following week. Eventually, something will get through. And so I just want to advise every one of us, whether it's corruption, everyday complaint, stand behind. Be man enough, stand behind your complaint. Put your name through the complaint. Police, fraud squad, Ombudsman Commission, ICAC, for whatever it is worth. We now, the commission and the two deputies were fighting amongst themselves. The ICAC Appointments Committee. Every step, the Transparency International stood with us to go through to make sure that their own complaints were investigated, but the ICAC as an institution functions on. And I just want to advise every one of us. Talking on Parliament is one thing, but stand behind your issues, put your name behind it, and let's prosecute any complaints being laid. Well, if it is properly prosecuted, if the right evidence attached, I am 100% certain that eventually the complaint will see light at the end of the tunnel. So let's not just use public spaces for waste and for just airing off. Let's process this through the proper channels. And I want to dedicate to this House. The fraud squad is now led by someone from outside of our country. If you cannot get through, and I was hearing someone saying earlier on some matters on land, I think member for Bulolo raised an important and pertinent question. I ask every one of us, utilize those key constitutional offices we have and prosecute any wrong you see in our country instead of just using the hot air to get things out. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
We have a point of order.
Like just the minister is making statement also meda rate blumibla as high as sampla narpla country or toklo sampla city. So me just double check him out. So we have to speak facts on this law. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, which uses statistics given to them by our police force, places the Papua New Guinean rate of intentional homicide at 23.1 per 100,000 of population. Now that puts us 4 times higher than the global average, and it ranks us in the top 10 countries in terms of intentional homicide, which is killing man. So, me like just point him out this land, correct him, Prime Minister. Thank you, Mr. Acting.
Honorable Member for Medellin, what is your point of order?
It will be brief, Deputy Speaker. Just in response, I allowed the Prime Minister to finish his statement on grievance debate, but he made reference to me in relation to standing orders. So I think it's important that if you want to correct standing orders, and you quote the provision. Now, I just checked the standing orders, and there's nothing in there that says that you cannot state a name. Only Standing Order 141 says when it comes to putting a question, if you put a question to a member or minister, statements of facts or names of a person unless they are strictly necessary. It doesn't prohibit. It says unless necessary, only in relation to questions. So I support the Prime Minister in saying that we must follow the standing order, but we also must know what we're talking about. So just for all members to know that there is no such provision that restricts statements of names unless you're putting it in a question. Thank you.
The Honorable Governor for Western Britain.
Speaker, I just want to touch base some of the challenges which we face at provincial level. I believe it's the same challenges everybody would be facing. I'm sure the good treasurer will be releasing the reports of, we may have to make it mandatory for releasing quarterly release of the functional grants. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it's called functional grant because without that you cannot function. I'm thankful. Yes, PSIP, DSIP is coming. It's paid almost up to 8-9 million kina. That's like 80-90%. Whereas when it comes to functional grant, which actually looks after education, health, law and order, infrastructure, received like 48%. And we are now already in end of October towards end of the year. This is always happens like maybe right at the end of December or the following year, you might get the balance. This creates a lot of uncertainty, Mr. Deputy Speaker. This also allows these public servants, hoping that this money is coming and they keep going and, borrowing money and creating din-outs and keep accumulating. And the most importantly, Deputy Speaker, one of that funding out of this, for example, West Britain has like 40 million kina as functional grant per annum. Education alone gets around 10 to 12 million kina. And that includes teachers' leave pay too. That year in, year out, we could not pay properly the teachers' leave pay, which they are entitled. And even some of those teachers teaching in a remote area, they are also not paid. And we have an accumulation of almost over 40 million kina to start out teachers. And this is one of the most noble job and people working, really in a rural area where they are not looked after. And then how do we really expect that these teachers, be peaceful and deliver or look after our children, educating our children? Mr. Deputy Speaker, Western Britain is one of the most, vibrant economy in terms of contribution from agriculture, in terms of tourism, in terms of logging activities, in terms of fisheries, and all these activities, contribute. And this is right time. Prime Minister promised, and Prime Minister even told me, just go and work on the paper. You can take over PNG Power. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm not lying. Just for my business alone, just last month I paid 55,800 kina just to buy diesel only. 55,800 kina just to buy diesel only. From January until now, a small business, like a retail business, spent over 600,000 kina just to buy diesel only. Of course, now and then we receive some requests for, even from PNG Power, say we only have 800 liters and all those things. How do we really run business? How do we really look after, the institutional facilities and all those things when we face all these challenges? And I thank Prime Minister, and I want him to be really confident and, to decentralize these functions. Even for that matter, police is looked after by the province. To date, we really do not know what exactly they get. They come to us for fuel. They come to us even for, this is another shameful thing. We should not allow police to go and beg members of parliament, to buy their weapons, buy their uniforms and all those things. This is where then whoever the parliament MP buying their weapons, they will be going behind them, giving them protection, moving around and all those things. I can't remember taking police to go to Kendrian or Gloucester, any remotest part of our province, But police depend on the members of parliament to buy. This is a shameful thing. Why remove that 1 million from that law and order, SIP, DSIP, PSIP? Give it to them, buy the weapons by themselves or buy whatever things needed. We paid 1 million kina even for them to buy vehicles. To date, we have not received our vehicles. This I paid, I think about 2 years ago or 3 years ago. This is for kina to kina funding program, hoping that we can receive like 10 vehicles because we contributed 1 million kina. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this is the right time, 50 years on. We cannot treat province. Gone are the days where you think that, if this province grow, they are going to ask for independence. That's a rubbish thinking. It's absurd. It's not really practical. It's like just a blind excuse to have power and control in Waigani, and then we governors go and beg and, we can't even see a secretary. Only during parliament question we feel little bit powerful because you can ask some questions. Once you're out of parliament, you're nobody. You just go and wait for appointment for secretary. Sorry, I don't want to call it ethnicity. A contractor can sit and talk to certain secretaries, and you will be waiting patiently outside for your turn to come. That is the reality. That is the reality, Mr. Deputy Speaker. This is the right time. We should treat every province as one economy. Even if two province grows, grows economically, the whole country grows. We keep trying to compare, Bougainville. Bougainville is a different issue. It's not just 1 or 2 years issue. This is more than 30 years issue. The Constitution doesn't talk about, any other province except Bougainville. So we should treat provinces as a state within the state, like how Queensland state is treated by Canberra, or how New South Wales, or it's a state government system. I'm even surprised. India has the same system. I thought India come up with that system. India adopted that system from Australia, the Australian government system. And that's where you can see the growth, the economic growth. Provinces where the real people are there, provinces where the real, activities are there. Port Moresby is not Papua New Guinea, with due respect to Governor NCD. But the real province, real Papua New Guinea is in the village, in the provinces. When we empower the provinces, then the country automatically empowers. Yeah? Why do we have to suffer every time getting the same complaint about poor roads, poor police operations, all those kind of challenges? If provinces are empowered, give the power to us, we look after. If there is no power, then we'll take the blame. Give the water. If there is no water, then we will take the blame. We are more than happy to take. And again, we can make PNG power tomorrow total and by profitable, just by releasing these C centers. These are loss-making centers anyway. Kimbe, Kevieng, Alata, Vivek, even Western Province. Why would we make the company suffer? Just release those things to the respective provinces. And I really want Prime Minister to, stick to that promise of decentralizing some of these powers, because even the police should be decentralized. Because anyway, 90% of their survival depends on each province and district where they are operating. Because it is in our interest to make sure we fund the police, because without them, then we can't bring peace or we can't manage the law and order situation, within the province. Deputy Speaker, a lot of commitments made. We as a leader, we have to honor our words with our actions. I'm very worried, like 2015, when the former Prime Minister was there, we all happily went to India. The Indian government agreed for $100 million to, attend to these two roads, Hoskins to Kimbe Road, and then this Bayat to Medang Road. To date, nothing has happened. And this is a long, and when I went to Kokopo last week, I thanked the government, for doing that 4-lane road. It's really important. Every province, at least the 5 or 10 kilometers of, the approach to the main capital, we should have. Even Kimbe, Deputy Speaker, you can't believe, when I drive 7 o'clock wanting to go to airport, I can't take over because I got 20 cars in the front and another 20 cars coming this way. And I'm real big struggle. We were promised this 4-lane road. Kimbe is no less than any other province which are currently having all those 4-lane roads. And it was like promise. We should not be keep promising and, having too many unfulfilled promises. Likewise, our hospital too. I think, suppose people are giving, maybe I'll resign. Maybe after end of this term, suppose people are working start here, maybe I'll retire. Now, I can give assurance also. People are going to complete this 4-lane road, na hospital, okay, me retire. So, people can teach him, na member na easy. Suppose people are not making, then me ba continue to stand up, na me ba continue to follow up la discussion. I think good klalo, Rausimi la parliament here, and good klalo, you may go na making this la work. 4-lane na this la hospital. I think because these are promise which we made to people in public. So we need to restore, the trust between government and our people. We need to maintain this fiscal discipline. Treasurer, please release him. Release him one kind money amigolo each district na one kind money amigolo each province. Yeah. And put him 2-page advertisement, a 3-page advertisement. You may look him so that got complain also Musati kisim, Musati no kisim. Some time we play Mr. Speaker. The irony is
order.
Time you starving this functional grant come late all the time. No work is happening. Public servants are very happy. They are just getting the pay, but no work is done. The functional grants keep accumulate. Mainly money end up going to some hire car or paying to hotel for some program, this and that. No real tangible work happens. What happens is, at the end of the year, I'll by looking, treasurer by Tagolsen, me allocating 40 million, yeah. You survive 20 million, yeah. So why now you may need him, you by needing Narapla on him, next year come here, why we have to, give you 40 million, because you survive on this 20 million. Of course we survive, meaning, also no God won't work me come up. So that's the reason, Deputy Speaker, we have to give importance to all the recurrent expenses. The recurrent expenses must take the precedence even before PSIP or DSIP. Thank you.
Governor, your time has lapsed. Honorable members, before I ask any of you to make a statement, let me make a statement here from the chair. The grievance debate is a very important time. Individual members expressing what they feel that they have to show on this floor of House. I'd like to appeal to all ministers of this House to make use of this grievance debate to listen to your colleague members of what, and for seeing ministers walking out of the chamber. It's at your prerogative to go, but from the chair, I advise that it will be proper for you ministers to sit here in the House and listen to our members of the grievances that are being raised. Now let's continue. Honourable Member for Wabek.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Grievance Blumilo this morning, and I think same grievance where Mio Gloration lo Risla Floor Planty Time Navami Togum again. Grievance Blumi and law and order. Deputy Speaker, all problems where you got in Risla country, and same problem all Narabla country all got in. These are the same problems because human beings, no matter the color of skin, they're the same. And we seem to have the same problems. The thing that, pains my understanding is that why can't the law enforcement agencies, particularly the police department, unfortunately the police minister is not there to listen to this grievance, but why can't they simply look at studies that are done in other countries and see the recommendations being made? They're the same recommendations being carried out worldwide. Now, law and order, Emal Man committee, all animals law, place committee, they're human beings who are committing those crimes, and they live in homes and they come from societies. Deputy Speaker, everywhere in the world, there's evidence, overwhelming evidence that shows that if you start to arrest people, then you will have deterrence. Now, if you look at all the social media and videos floating around the place, people from the villages are, holding their firearms and flaunting and getting pictures with our security forces. If I'm the Minister for Police or the Minister for Defense, I will arrest that particular law enforcement officer who's there taking photos with his people in the village because he's actually partaking in that and promoting those behaviors. Deputy Speaker, it's not a joke anymore, Some of you live in those, fleshy hotels and fly in and out of Australia, and you don't live in your villages, so you don't know what's happening in your villages. You think Papua New Guinea is Australia, Brisbane, or the casinos in Sydney. You people have to go to your villages. You people are float around those symbols, some like in Tycoon or US now. You people look so well, when is something come up, place. I hear some of you mentioning Bula Bula. I think Fiji is your country. Papua New Guinea is no longer your country. This is a problem. Some of you think that when I started raising this issue, you talk about the Memblong Henga or Memblong Hela or those trouble fight infested areas. But no. In any illness, the weakest area is the first one that shows symptoms of illness. And that's where Henga and these other places are coming into view. It's a systemic illness that starts from here on this floor of Parliament. You start arresting members of Parliament, and then the nation will toe in line. When you have one set of laws protecting, the elite here on the floor, and when you have another set of laws, being enforced on us, normal citizens on our streets, that's when law and order starts to break. It starts in this house. I've been complaining, now that the police minister is inside, I've been complaining on this floor for 3 years now, my brother. It's quite difficult for you to arrest a simple man on the street in Wabe. Complaints have been made, so many PPCs have been addressed. I don't know what set of criteria you use to, performance appraise your PPCs in your own provinces. I think the most important one should be the rate of arrest. If we see the rate of crime increasing in a province, and if the rate of arrest doesn't commensurate with that rate, we should start taking those PPCs. But no God. My good minister, you are succumbing to leaders in this parliament, and you are allowing them to appoint your PPCs. How much the time me talking you now, me talking you again? They are not the police minister. You are the police minister. To the Speaker, one of the biggest factors that actually limit crime in any other nation or jurisdiction for that matter is the arrest. When you start arresting people, you start to have deterrence. And people start realizing because they're human beings. All money, all basabe by you come arrest them also, they will start to stop. And that influence permeates the society and it starts to influence good behavior. Right now, we don't see any arrests. How you may expect him, law and order will thrive lo country from it. Please. You know, the fundamental role of a government is to protect its citizens. That's why when the ordinary people give their votes to us, when they consent to give their votes to us, they cast, you know, certain rights are actually vested on us, like the right to violence and use of violence to enforce law and order. That right has been given to government. Yet our policemen and defense force have actually become, they have morphed into peace mediators. They go around and talk and, talk. You are not supposed to go and talk. All man on Saturday, you come up with some geli now. All but treating you some geli. We are supposed to use force. The monopoly of force has been vested on the state, on the government. Plenty you will complain of some. People some leaders will place on make it work. We go and do our jobs. I'm telling you. We do our jobs. Unfortunately, the institutions of state.
Honourable Member, we have a point of order. Minister for Defence.
Sorry for disturbing, but I think it needs to be made very clear that PNDF does not have any arresting powers while they're out there. They're only there to support the police. So, no good meeting was a defense staff lab, no can arrest him on Manmeri. In a work long.
Honourable Minister, I think I have raised that concern before. I'll allow the member to go ahead.
All get talk time, all got him time, please. Nibla talk na, nibla fall again, no making talk when nibla no talk for the parliament. Please, law and order and big problem. I'm absolutely lo nibla over the streets. I know, let alone our, our mothers, our daughters. It's quite difficult for them to live a normal life in this country. Yeah. One of the fundamental roles of the government is to protect its citizens. And if we fail in that, we've actually lost our legitimacy as a legitimate government, Mr. Speaker. Will I ask him again, please? Talk blumibla, William Size blumibla. If the words we speak on the floor of Parliament would automatically translate to an action like God created the world, we'd be living in that world of, our aspirations, in that utopian world we dream of. Unfortunately, Police Minister, now Honorable Line through Mr. Speaker, you block not giving me assurance plenty time going. Assurance I'm no getting on black kaigeblen. I'm a simple man and we made him arrest for over 3 years. I'm sorry, Muslim, government and Muklo faith. Please, you may address law and order. Law and order and big crisis inside the country now. It's in crisis. Place was in Kokopo. I went to school in Kiribati. Places like Kokopo used to be very peaceful places. Very peaceful places. And if you see crime rates in Kokopo increasing, that's an indictment on the government's ability to provide law and order and, provide governance for its people. I don't know what measures you are using to measure your own success as a government. If the basic socio-economic indices, if the crime rates are actually down, plunging into in habits, we have to relook again and address those issues. It's like economy, you got to go up 200 billion or one something here. It doesn't show on ground. Those figures are not commensurate with our socio-economic indices. we have to start taking a serious look at law and order. You know, I've been raising this on this floor so many times, and I'm, you know, raising it again. Law and order, please. Let's address law and order. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Rabaul.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Speaker, for all people of Rabaul. Me like expressing one grievance in relation to the processing. This is in addition to what Honorable Dr. Lino has been discussing. But I found the same. I found one particular procedure missing in the process of arrest in the police department, police station in Rabaul district. When a person is arrested by the police, the next thing that should be done is a statement obtained from the criminal who's been arrested by the police, a record of interview. In many cases, this is not done, and the court cannot perform its function effectively without this statement or a record of interview. So in all the cases of arrest, you put him in a cell one night, next day you release them back into the free society where they reoffend. So the law and order issue continues to multiply. How do you address this? We need trained policemen who are able to sit down with an arrested offender, write a statement, and prepare him, process him for court. This is not happen. You work like law and order, law and order. You mean arresting all people? No one is there to process their statement. But you carry me go to court or someone. But this is what the procedure, the legal process is. We cannot. You mean not cut him this la broken busa sol and bring him go to court. The next thing the magistrate will ask for is what's the statement, and then he acquits him for lack of evidence. So I think it's double police now. Maybe the police department have a different section there. Trained policemen who probably have gone through the training process at, say, Bomana, and who are interested in actually processing arrested offenders. They can take an additional course on a statement, how to write statements. So when you, because in law, and that's what the courts look for, when a person is arrested and charged with a particular offense, what the magistrate will look for in the statement of facts is facts that will establish certain elements in the offense for which he has been charged. And if that is not there, he gets acquitted. So we need, I think, trained policemen who are arresting officers, or if they are not arresting officers, they are trained there to simply write out statements for offenders. I suppose it's a lot, only no walking, me talking, you all members, honorable members, we can talk about law and order, and police arresting offenders. There's a lot in Australia, and we'll keep talking about offenders being set free, back into the free society, reoffending, and the law and order situation just continues to escalate. As a legally point, that's all me like expressing. It's my grievance. It has been my grievance for my district, and now me expressing on the floor of this parliament, and hopefully Honorable Police Minister will look into it. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honorable Governor for Jiwaka.
Log you in time long. Lomi,
Mila contribute a little on like grievance debate. But before I do that, I feel like passing big lot of sorry on behalf of people of Juaga. We go along late Governor Blom, Morobe Province, Luther Wenge, now people of Morobe. I want to strong man, long Morobe, na Lopabi Ningini, na I think all of us missing them long here today, long grievance debate, na long question time. And big voice long and support long is missing at the moment. So on behalf of people of Juaga, we pass sorry Blumi, go along, or people of Morobe, although we play Juaga representative, they come now ascribe long late governor, like all the other provinces, Milogin, but me taking the time to talk sorry. The other second point, me like Migin, I'm long passing talk sorry too. We go along all our leaders blowing province, Governor Peter Ipitas, this is the latest news in Mixim long. Landslide, na plenty of land blue nearly losing life long. And people that talk sorry go along all. Mr. Deputy Speaker, me like contribute to like grievance debate. But me, I'm too law and order. Now, law and order is a big issue now that you mean talk now. It's been debated here now. It's been discussed on the street now. Everywhere. Law and order is, I think it's totally getting out of hand now. Because of the population increase now. Now also me mindset belong all line me now. Now also the mixable census report. Thank you, Minister of Administrative Service. Well, you make also 10 million and 10.5 million population. Now this is a plenty only until 50, plenty of young man and very stop. Now mindset belong all line me no problem now. In a good platform us. That's why meeting was saying, you make a plenty of law and order issue. Now, how are we going to address this? Plenty of money sour now. Plenty of money sour now. All educated, some play half educated, all some. But mindset blooming and good to us. Me, myself, I come from a very old generation. Make a school of time of colonial days. Now, as I speak now, I think me, one of the oldest person in the parliament at the moment. But time colonial on colonial days, all Papua New Guineans were very humble now, understanding now, respecting for one another. Simple things like talk good morning or hello to one another, even if you didn't know where you come from or one village or one province and you come. When you see somebody on the street, and you just talk good morning or good afternoon or kind of thing. These simple things, greetings are not happening right at the moment. We are really losing track of our own identity. Although we say you need Papua New Guinea stuff, you need mixed number of the go come. What's the name? It's like law and order issue will increase. Mira na bilang orga da talk. Mr. Deputy Speaker, but me like talk long issue long law and order, particularly long main road blaming. Ani lo good leadership long Prime Minister, Brabena, Rosa government. You work in this land, good long connecting PNG na. Plenty good already come up. I think plenty all stuff before, but now new already come up, now some more come up. It's good for our country, it's good for our people. So be connecting one another, access to all the business activities, access to community, all those things will benefit us. Now you got some all the islands or main road stuff. The biggest main road now is the Highlands Highway. Now you got plenty of Narbla Highway too, also Militano, Maggie Highway, Bulumski along Keviang, Chibig Highway, we mentioned Militano, finished now you got highway now along from Lake along Mosby, from Staten Island, Ella to Kikori, now from Central Naigolong, from Million Bay, Aleta, Samurai. All these roads are good for connecting our people. But the biggest problem we're creating now and what's happening along the Islands Highway now, roadblock, Passim Road, Ausimal Bridge. This is an issue now has become more prevalent, now it's becoming more serious now. Particularly Islands Highway, when there's a car accident, or some money some Bagarap, and all money blocking road. All money cutting the way going down. And now stopping the flow of traffic or business activity by Mimogolong country blaming, now this is a particular region, and we stop. One classical example, I'm recently finished, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and current election, council election related issue, the province Lomi. It's an issue that came about because of all votes being created now. Innocent. It's an issue, but it was addressed by the electoral commissioner, the men on the ground. Now it can be addressed. But the people, some of my own people are taking advantage of that. Now cutting the way, blocking road. And it went on for almost a day and a half. Now you know what? All the highway traffic from islands, from Ley, Lagonda, Sim Supply, Kamlong Islands, only blocked from Means border all the way down to Chimbu border. Held up. Now by doing that, you mean delaying all business activities. There are times it's gone for days, so that supply of goods now, or one can continue by all Narbla province or Narbla area, it doesn't come up. They affect everybody. Now me thinking, Mr. Deputy Speaker, it's like I'm passing back on Narbla Islands now, sorry, highway now. Because mindset blow line believe me, you know good blood Thomas. All young blood generation believe me, they've got no respect for law and order. Okay, please Minister stop, Mr. Please you walk in plenty walk, now I'm talking about police. But law and order is an issue that the people, our own people must take ownership of this issue. Almost Sawel and Wade but down good now making good law passing. Because mindset blow line blaming on good law. They don't really care. Or they can do anything they want to. They think in me, that's all. That's the mindset of our people. How are we going to change that attitude so that the law and order issue can be addressed? We will always have law and order problems, but at a minimum that can be managed. At the moment, I don't think we're managing it. What's in the many of the highway in Mitogya, there's the problem will come up yet. Time on blocking road. Or passing on really something up. Even on young like I'm doing the road or putting on the road now, asking for money or asking for things before you let you go through. And this is becoming so common now. It's so common. Now people are scared to drive along some of these main roads now. Now if we don't address this thing properly now, this thing will continue. The population is increasing, and freedom is become much more greater freedom, and we're losing control of ourselves. That's my view, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Milatosi, you must introduce some tougher laws. You make us like terrorists and act in me, looking content law, or look trouble on, but you make us a law finish. So you must introduce some kind of law, specifically managing the highways. The highways, so that there must be freedom of transportation of goods. The people must go and come. Because if we don't want a community, a little community in the middle of that highway, and blocking the road, stopping the road, making trouble, Around him do it, then we are stuck.
Honorable Governor, I interrupt you. Yes, your 10 minutes have lapsed.
Thank
The opposition leader.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Me like joining colleague Blomi, law opposition Dr. Honorable Dr. Lino, law Dr. Close same subject. This last subject, if we don't address it, Mr. Deputy Speaker, you can set up your new a post, you can set up your new classroom, you can set up your one infrastructure, you like him. That's all. Suppose you know addressing law and order issue inside the country, blow me. Very recently, as the taso, me looking inside the social media, Mr. Speaker, Nutrient Health Services losing one housing. Now, this housing, I mean, start time, some leaders start inside here, all been work law health department. It's been serving the people of that part of our country for more than 50 years. And just yesterday it was touched. Now, me sorry, our people blame me now. I don't respect him house sick anymore. I don't respect him government institutes anymore. I don't respect him this school where all picnic blood by go kiss him surveillance. And it's affecting our country to an extent where first time you may been got little sewer. Scratch blow one blood garage and cigarette. Now you may not been putting plaster land. Now I'm going to come up big plus sewer. Now I'm come up house of finish. Now by me working on him, Lord Isla. Do we allow that house to go beyond its control that we have to amputate? This is a leg or hand blow man. And we've come to a stage where, Mr. Speaker, as I stand here to speak on law and order, me warriors, you mean some leaders too. Time you go to districts blame me. You got how much land cruiser Sanaplo backside or how much dinghies run one time you mean our police must be enemy me go look law people blame me. Now me sorry howsem walk blow policeman blow keep safety blow or citizens blame me. Now will come up escort blame me. Now, Mr. Speaker, which direction are we going as a country? One direction you mean portray or you mean like law and order law kissing me go. Me sorry some plenty time you mean blame him. Maybe your policeman blame me on working work. But something where or little something where we must attend to must be done. I'll give you a few examples, Mr. Speaker. The first time I came to Port Moresby, back in the mid-90s, because me been staff lo bulolo, remember bulolo staff, me been staff lo time lo bulolo, me workman lo up. Now behind me come down lo lay, now I moved over here. For a short while, me go to Kimbe, walk. And those times were some of the peacefulest times me been enjoying. Where people can walk about, lo Kimbe town, come lo Gigo, go lo Lalaki and come back. Lo Bulolo, we can walk about Osem, come down, lo Pine Top, na go back. Today you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Na me like give him some little example to so. But what must be it? Time Friday night come. Man, music by go antap na antap ogata. Na you sleep, you don't sleep. Oh, spark man walking noise, go come. Now you like walk about go outside and stand up. You put it look out because one man blood disciplinary force here, stand up and drink one time or stop. You like talk law, I'm hard here. Me talk law, street blame yet, where me stop law, what must be. It's become a problem. Now me time to address him as a leader, me come out and me go talk one time cannot take control of little things, things that are manageable, how do we expect to manage bigger things? Inside the education system, blame me. Sorry, I have to say this. So some people blame me. Where you may be in school earlier in the 70s. Aya kanda sa burki mas blame me. Tete, or smartin inside the school. Have your discipline, give more discipline. You put him candle or run go report him parents law or go to police. Teacher work him also. I think it's about time we introduce some of these measures back to our education system. Me talk this is something because Kanda stop now, beginning to go West Target. Parents have lost their power to discipline their own children either. Beginning to fight one time, mama, papa. And we need to get back to the basics, the fundamentals, and fix up the issues at home, fix up the issues at elementary school, going up, go to university. Mr. Speaker, Sampla, you mean, openly blame me or stop the university now, dress up, please. Or stop the Bikla Institute, now dress up or some, oh no, stop the Bikla Institute. No time, blame me, blah. Stop this kind of school. Or teacher blame me, blah. No higher institutes. Or make certain that people are partner go inside the classroom. Standard of dressing was so high then. Now, standard of dressing, you go back up that we don't even train our young people to learn how to dress. And when they come to the workforce, they dress even worse. There's no discipline. So little talk blame me, that's all. Inside all institutes blame me. Let's begin to put some discipline. Education minister, you stop here. Let's introduce some discipline into that. Higher education minister, you stop. Let's put some discipline into that. Or disciplinary forces blame me. Minister are working good for work. Times are hard. They struggle with resources, but they need to discipline themselves in dressing. How or conducting all yet. And Mr. Speaker, final one from me. You walk about go to streets blow Port Moresby. Last two minutes below me. Mr. Speaker, find your man. Or carry knife around and stop or something. You may stop the place here. You may have to walk about Goran Logorens market now. You may look at man holding bush knife. Somebody must put his feet down and walk the streets of Port Moresby in a talk. Who's that man holding bush knife? Mipla by locking you. Port Moresby a big place for all man of Papua New Guinea. Now, world. If we start disciplining our people here in Port Moresby, not talking about you hold him screwdriver, me locking you. You hold him knife, me locking you. You hold him bush knife to a public place. You're going to fight about the city. We'll deal with you. You know that? Or fight your settlement. You may go stop him fight, then you come back and think that it's over. And I agree with the minister. We have to, my colleague, Dr. Lino, that we have to begin to arrest people. Seriously. If we do not arrest people, now you may not put them all inside the calaboose. Issues believe me will continue and continue and continue. I think we have sufficient laws. You may create plenty laws inside the legislative house. You may come up one time terrorism bill. What are we creating laws for? You may creating law, empowering one tasol or one institute only? Or do we create those laws so that they use those laws for the benefit of our citizens and the people of Papua New Guinea? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No money?
My goodness.
Brian, thank you from what the Prime Minister just recently said in response to a point of order raised by the good member for Madang. Rather, continuous point of order with regards to us members of Parliament having to maintain the proper decorum and the need to observe privilege in this honorable House. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I rise particularly to raise a matter of privilege relating to the conduct of Parliament proceedings yesterday, when the good Speaker, Honourable Job Comad, sat in that very chair and read out the decision of the Private Business Committee relating to the recent notice of motion of no confidence submitted by our friends on the other side. There was continuous objections from the members on this side, and particularly the member for Hiri Koyari. It is on record on the handset. He made scathing attack against the Honourable Speaker, alleging that he has accepted inducement or his decision not to entertain the motion of no confidence was influenced by considerations other than having to consider the motions of whether or not it is of a parochial nature or it is in a national interest. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, there is provisions under Order 97 of the Standing Orders that allows for a member of Parliament, like in this case, to raise the matter of privilege to you as the Speaker sitting on the chair, for the Honourable Kiridu to be referred to the Privilege Committee of Parliament as to whether or not what he said yesterday is within the protection allowed by us members as
Honourable Member, we have a point of order. Honourable Member.
The good member for Karmenomane is referring to an exchange between myself and the chair in relation to statements made by the chair. So in alluding to it, I made reference to certain possibilities. Not scathing allegations. It's a scenario. Now, if you would address his mind to the context, then the good member will appreciate where I was coming from.
Honourable Member, I think the Honourable Member for Karamu is making a statement, and on the grievance debate on his statement, I would allow him to complete his statement.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Perhaps for the record and for the convenience of the good members here, I think I read the relevant provisions of the standing orders, so you appreciate where I'm coming from. And it states, a member may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and may on that occasion request the Speaker to refer the breach of privilege to which he complains to the Committee of Privilege. And this is exactly my point. I am raising that what the good member for Karakuhiri said yesterday, Hiri Koyari said yesterday, is a breach of privilege, and it is within your power as the Speaker to refer it to the Privilege Committee. As to whether or not that breaches the Privilege Committee, it's a matter for the Privilege Committee to decide. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, please resume your seat. I overheard from here to the Honourable Member for Karami Nomani is that the statement is to ask the Chair that these Honourable members named on to be referred to the Parliamentary Privilege Committee. Would that be correct?
Speaker.
There be seconder, if there be a seconder to this?
No motion.
Honourable Honorable Member for Goroka, you seconded the motion. The Honorable Member for Suave, what's your point of order?
Deputy Speaker, this is grievance debate. He's raised the grievance. He didn't even move that motion. And now you're trying to entertain it.
Create a motion.
Create a motion out of thin air.
Come on.
Honorable Member for Suave, like I've said, it is from the member. I heard from him that he's asking the chair to move that the member be referred, and that's what I heard from what he said. So he already moved on that, and I've asked for seconder, and we have a seconder to this. Honorable Member, I'll entertain a point of order from the Deputy Opposition Leader.
Deputy Acting Speaker, what we heard was he didn't move the motion. He was only debating. And he raised a grievance in his debate. So there is no move of a motion.
Honorable Member, like I've said, I've asked, overheard from him, and I asked whether he'd be moving a motion, and he said, correct, he's moving a motion. And that it has been seconded. Therefore, I'll be asking the House a question, and if there be division on this, it's something on the House to decide on. Honorable members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. There be a seconder to the division. Honorable members, I think there's a division. There's a division on the vote, so I will ask the House to vote. Clerk, ring the bell. Honorable member, this is, I rule your point of order out of order. This is not in conjunction to what we have discussed, so that is out of order. Honorable member, clerk, ring the bell. Honorable member, I've already ruled your point of order out of order. And I've already ruled that there's a division and second, and now the bell is ringing. We will have a vote on the division whether the motion is being carried. Honorable member for Madang, I'd like to make a ruling here after advice from the clerk. I'd like to make it clear that I've now received advised that the motion raised by the honorable member for Karamui Nomine is requesting to make a motion, and that clerk, maybe can I advice I got was the honorable member is requesting the chair that the matter be referred. Therefore, the speaker will make a ruling on this in the next sitting day. Therefore, in correction on this, I rule that the vote on the motion earlier will not be entertained. Thank you. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I have it. Honorable Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I move that the leave of absence be granted to Mr. John Rosso, Deputy Prime Minister, Lands, Immigration, Mr. Justin Chachenko, Minister for Foreign Affairs, for the duration of this meeting due to travel overseas.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Is leave granted? Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I move that the leave of absence be granted to Mr. Soroi Ioe, Minister for Provincial and Local Level Government Affairs, for the duration of this meeting due to death in the family.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Deputy Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Leave granted. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I move Mr. Patrick Bassa be appointed member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Customary Land and Land Reform in Papua New Guinea.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it.
Deputy Speaker, I move that the Parliament at its rising adjourn until Tuesday, 18th November 2025 at 2:00 p.m.
Honorable members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Deputy
Or
Speaker.
those against say no. Ayes have it.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I move that Parliament do now adjourn until Tuesday, 18th November at 2:00 p.m.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Honorable members, I now adjourn Parliament to Tuesday, 18th November at 2:00 p.m.